Oh, we have Smart Hannah. I know she's Smart Hannah because of the glasses now.
All right, we're jumping into another riveting episode of Minding Our Business, and we're all wearing our glasses, and we're very smart on this episode.
If
So
only I was wearing overalls too, then I could look like the smart overall wearing art girl from She's All That, Rachel Lee Cook. And then suddenly, oh, she's beautiful. Splits her hair down.
If you put overalls on me, I look like Miss Rachel from the children's show, which,
holy
yeah.
shit, yeah, but that's a compliment in this day. Like
Yeah.
people love Miss Rachel.
Babies like me a lot.
Yes, I like it.
Never thought about that connection.
We're
Wow.
jumping into this episode, and our guest today is Hannah, who is I hear a hockey player and I will say business consultant.
Yep.
And a business consultant. So can you tell us like a little bit about what you do like in your business and who you consult and the good stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I do is I work with the small businesses that they have a lot going on, they're established, but they don't have a full team behind them to accomplish the things that kind of corporate guys can. So I'll talk a little bit about my current project. I'm working with a company that's been around for 33 years. They don't seem like they're small because they're actually on 5 continents, but their issue is that, believe it or not, they've been so successful in the last decade that they haven't had to consistently hire new salespeople, which means they don't have a process for that. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, in a corporate setting, you would have a process for it. You would have a whole team. You would have a whole, probably floor dedicated to salespeople. These guys are pretty small. So they bring me in to be their sales expert, create their process, help them with their interviews, and train their new sales people. So I do that with every step of the process, customer service. It could be in-house. It could be management training, just things that you would usually have to have a team for.
Now, speaking of team, is it just you or do you have your own team that's helping you with this?
So it is just me, but I would say that nothing happens in a vacuum. I go to Jonesy, for instance, quite frequently for advice about, what should I do in this situation, or what do you think is a good tool for them to use? And I have a whole host of other people that I would call somewhere between, a mentor and someone that I trade favors with in the industry.
Mm-hmm. So then what's your background? Like what brought you to doing this, like consulting business for yourself? Did you own another business? Did you work somewhere and you're kind of like Jonesy here and he's like, I can't do corporate?
So yes, I really do not like to have a boss. I am not the kind of I feel owned when I have a boss. I can't be told you have to do this today. No, I don't have to do anything. And I honestly, I was always like pretty incorrigible that way. Anytime I've had a job where they're like, you have to do this, and I didn't want to, I would say, no, I'm
just straight up contrarian. Just because you said something, now I'm going to do the opposite.
Yep. So my background comes in, I've been in sales for well over a decade. And at one point I ended up becoming the director of a fundraising company in Philadelphia. And so I learned a lot of HR skills, a lot of different business skills, different kinds of software, and management was really a big thing. The training that I got in that role. And when I left that company, I kind of just went on to figure out what I wanted to do. And I landed at the place where Josie and I have worked together. We didn't meet there, but he introduced me to them at a real estate school. And there I was interacting with a ton of different people who were investors, who were buying properties, who were trying to make their own businesses better. And people started coming to me for advice. And so eventually I just went, wait a minute, you'll hire me on kind of like an independent contractor basis for a project. I could do that instead. And I realized I had enough clients and, enough money to be able to do that. It was 2 years ago now. This is my second year.
2 years ago. Yeah.
It's crazy. Most businesses fail in the first year. And then I guess the rest of that, I think it's like 85% of new businesses fail within the first 5. Mm-hmm. I haven't failed yet. So that's good. I'm not starving to death. But yeah, I took that and I ran with it. I've done a bunch of different projects. And my favorite thing, and I do this with many results, is I go out and I do events with them, go to expos and talk to people, because talking to people is the thing that I do best.
And that is where we lack severely at Marketing Agency near you. You come up to my table or you come on my podcast, I'll talk to anybody, and I'll wax philosophical for hours, but I don't do the outgoing portion. That's my limitation, and here's my choice. Do I want to spend all the time and effort? I mean, should I be improving? Yes. But am I going to focus my energy on that? I'm going to say, Hannah, help. This is where you excel. And we can both eat and win because of this.
I think that makes so much sense. And that's why I said I went back to no, I'm not really a team, but I do have, a community around me. Because if I face a technology challenge that I don't understand, I will talk to Jonesy about it because that's his purview and he knows how to fix those things. And if
Mhm.
he needs somebody to reach out to another person, yeah, could he figure it out? Sure. I could figure out the technological problem too. Or I could spend my energy in the places where I'm really good and
I
do
also,
that.
Hannah likes to fire people, specifically clients. So that's, she does collections. And
That,
this is
that one
funny.
I
This
always
is
try to
fun.
do for free. I like
This is
asking people
so
for
fun.
money.
Like you teach businesses how to do this, but
Yeah.
right? It's like one of those things where if you're going to get into the weeds of something, you better be enjoying it. And that's it. I'm like, and I'm so non-confrontational. I'm like, this person contractually owes me money. Can you shake them down for it?
So one, I will say, no bones about it. I absolutely love collecting money from people who, especially small businesses. There's very rarely a good reason for it, or there is a really good reason for it that hasn't been communicated.
Mhm.
And so you either get that super wholesome, actually stuff has been going on, and I need some leeway or I need some help. Let's figure out a plan. Or you get that, yeah, it turns out I'm actually kind of a jerk. I needed to do that, and they didn't. And so either way, it's a really rewarding experience for me. I do want to put some context on the firing thing because people look at me like I'm a monster when I say that. And the reason why I say that is if you are working at a job where yeah, right. But if you're working at a job where you are always the losing racehorse, you are always going to feel like the losing racehorse. If you suck at something, and you're not happy, you shouldn't be doing it. You need to be in a place where you're going to succeed. And the first place that I experienced it was in the fundraising company. And I can't tell you how many people I fired. I also learned, and this is kind of evil, I learned how to coach people out where they just choose to leave, which morally still don't know really how I feel about that. But yeah, I
This a little bit.
actually, it's I don't care if the company has to pay unemployment to someone. I
Mhm.
very rarely am on the side of a company being angry at an employee or believing they're malicious, which does happen. It just happens far less frequently than we think or than companies think, I believe. And so
Mhm.
I don't feel obligated to get them off the hook for unemployment for a few months. Get over yourself. You can pay it. Like
Yeah.
you're fine. You took this risk on, right? But I fired my best friend in the world twice, and we're best friends still. She's going to be my maid of honor coming up at
Mhm.
my wedding. And it was because both times it was a very good choice for her. It was making her unhappy to not feel successful. And that just is, if you're already downtrodden, it doesn't matter how many times I come up trying to be a cheerleader, like, you can do this. I believe in you. Here are your tools. Here's what you're fantastic at. If they see themselves failing, they know they're not idiots. So
Yeah.
she saw herself, not being successful in something that I was telling her she could be. That's extra pressure to feel like she needs to. And it's like, it's not working right now. For whatever reason, this is not working for you right now. And it is a better option for you to not be doing it if it's going to make you sad and unhappy. So, yes, I love firing people, but mostly it's because it gets them out of a situation they shouldn't be in.
Mm.
My brother-in-law is a small business owner, and him and my sister just had to fire someone, and like he's very non-confrontational, and like so is she, and I'm literally begging. I'm like, guys, I'm like, can I please be HR? I'm like, I would really love to like sit and like talk with them, because like I'd fire someone and send them on their way, feeling like they could do something better that would fit them better.
Mhm.
So
Um,
it doesn't sound mean to me. It's if someone's not good at something, if it's not good for the company and it's not good for them and everyone's unhappy, like it's not worth
well,
it. It's easier
yeah.
said than done. If I suck at something but they're paying me and like I really need the money and I mean it's different, but I don't think you're mean for wanting to fire people.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't think either of you guys would think that, just anyone watching. By the way, there's a wonderful movie with George Clooney in it, but it's all about that. It's a gentleman whose entire job is to go around the country and fire people. And he presents it in a way, looking at them like, listen, there's tons of things you're good at in this life. You have dreams. Do one of those.
Yeah.
I am freeing you. I am
Yeah.
freeing you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quite literally.
Yeah.
I guess but people, we all know this, are just too scared I think sometimes people have a fear of being too amazing at something too, because when you're amazing at something and something goes wrong and it's just you're looking around kind of like, well, who am I? Like, I'm like, who's my person I'm looking to?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm in year two of, it sometimes feels like I'm completely rudderless, and again, I'm not. I have a community of people, but you end up facing that like, everyone's saying I'm good at this. What if I'm actually like a fraud and I can't do any of these things? And then, I try to like get to an expo or something when I feel like that. And I'm like, no, I'm actually really good at this. Okay, it could be okay.
Just need to boost.
Um,
I'm a
yeah.
good hype person, so if anyone's ever having a bad day, let me know. You will be unbad dayed very quickly. So what's your like educational background? Like, did you go to college? Did you like study like business or anything in school?
So first of all, um, I do not know how I feel about studying business in school because I feel like it has changed so dramatically over like the last decade that I can't imagine schools actually keeping up um, with any current information that will make people successful, but maybe it can. I don't know. I went to college for early childhood education when I
Oh,
was
well,
18. Yeah. And actually, I will say my experiences that make me best at management, sales, and customer service and understanding problems all come from observing people as a preschool teacher. So I was a preschool teacher in a very crappy preschool that allowed me, an 18-year-old girl, to watch 20 children completely alone, ages 3 to 5, frequently, which is very illegal, by the way. And I learned classroom management very, very well. And I learned how to see, like, oh, you're behaving in a very slightly different way than normal. Something must be wrong. I learned how to tell the difference between a tantrum and, a sick kid, right? So I went to school for that. I paid for
Ooh.
it all myself. I actually didn't get my associate's degree because at the time when I was supposed to be doing student teaching, I was leaving an old part of my life, which meant I was just like essentially sleeping on couches for 2 months while saving up money to buy an apartment because I had to leave fast. And that's just what happened. So I had to choose between having a second job and doing student teaching, which, I had already been a preschool teacher for 2.5 years and, a therapeutic staff support for multiple children with autism in different environments for years. I'm like, I don't need to go to a classroom to know I want to do this. And I, took that second job and then I started doing other things. And I was like, it's not worth it to go back. I don't care.
yeah.
So I haven't gone back. So I have 61 credits of an associate's degree. You need 60 to have an associate's degree. And I will say, as much as I did love some of the classes that I took, it I don't know if it's because it was community college. I think they try really hard, but I never had a class that was harder than my ninth grade English class. So I didn't really learn anything except, yeah, you still have to do stupid things to get the piece of paper to show people that you need it. I just choose not to be around people who need that piece of paper at this point, which
Mhm.
is few and far between, Jonesy. I don't think I've met anyone who's asked me that question in a really long time.
No, because you're not targeting those environments that would require it. We're talking about larger organizations that typically that's a barrier and a threshold to accomplish. You're targeting the businesses who may or may not themselves have that piece of paper, but they have been able to carve out success with nothing but their own skill and usually skill and grit without the processes in place. So that's why it's the perfect match right there. And same likewise now. I literally have an associate's degree and I got some certifications and stuff from marketing, but I'm not sitting here over an MBA. And, little flex is I make more than most MBAs I know because I hit my target audience and serve them the best I can. And therefore it pays me money and everybody wins.
I was
That's
part
the
of the generation, like I like to call us the millennials that got really screwed. So I was part of that generation where people were going to college and like that's who no one in my family went to college. I went to a bunch of college. I don't have any degrees. I didn't know what I'm not a big proponent of college really at all for anything unless it's like very specific. Like you
Like
got to be
STEM,
a doctor, like maybe
yeah.
scientist. Yeah.
I'm with you. Like, I don't think you go to college for business. I think you just kind of maybe find a mentor and start a business, and like that's how you're going to learn. I don't know. Um, But I feel like I've been asking people this a lot because it makes me feel better about myself. Because I always am so like, I don't have I always get so worried. Like, what is my fallback? Because, like, in my mind, that piece of paper is defining your skills. And it's like, oh my God, like if I lost my real estate license, if I didn't do anything, what would be my thing? Like, how would I even interview again for
So,
any job? I mean, I don't ever plan to do so, but if I
well,
did, like, who would be on my resume? You know?
what are you good at?
What would you say?
What are you good at?
Being hilarious.
All right.
Yeah, I'm good at making people feel good, I think. I'm good at being hilarious. I'm good at connecting people. I mean, I have good things. It's all about my amazing qualities, but having amazing qualities that will make you money.
So when I heard this, I saw this hilarious reel recently that was, they were talking about the different kinds of people that you hire and the one that you absolutely need. And the one that you absolutely need is the person in the office who makes people feel comfortable and happy to be there. And they still do work and they still have value and they still, you know, they fill the cubicle and they do the spreadsheets and all that stuff, but they make people want to be there. And that
Right person.
seems like it's not a skill, but it's freaking huge. Because I don't know if you've
Mhm.
ever worked somewhere where you hate everyone, and I have, and it was exhausting. I was like, there's not one person in an entire building that I can talk to. And because I was that person, they all kept talking to me, and it was no matter what I did to like, I would like make noise, use different machines, set up my area so you couldn't physically walk into it without it being difficult. And people would still come in and bother me. And I was miserable because even though I was doing something that was fun and I liked, people kept coming up to me and having idiotic conversations that I didn't want to be a part of. I don't want to socialize with you. But if I had someone that I did want to socialize with at that place, I probably would have stayed a lot longer. And that's the kind of fallback job where it was incredibly stable. It had fantastic benefits. I had a lot of days off and all that. And I was doing something fun and I could listen to podcasts while I was doing it. And I hated it because I didn't want to be around the people. So I think that's huge. I also think that we've gotten to a point where most people are recognizing that a college degree doesn't mean you have those skills. One of the dumbest people I have ever had, and this person is so sweet, they're so kind, and I'm very honest. Like her skill set is something that had to be ingrained. Like it would take less time to teach my cat to do most of these things, right? So it took 3 months longer of training to teach this person something that I guess should have taken 6 months. And it took me less than 2 to learn every skill that I was teaching her, create a training plan, and then teach someone else, right? And that's the other reason why I have to be a small business consultant is because I get bored because I learn fast. I learn a skill, I master a skill, I do that skill fast, and then I want to move on because I'm done, right? But in this case, I called this person dumber than a bag of rocks over and over, like not to their face, but in my head, I'm like, I can't stand this. That person has a bachelor's degree in marketing. That person can't use Canva. That person can't follow a format in Canva that you click on and just change the words and insert a picture correctly. And that particular issue was corrected like 40 times before I think the owner just took it over. They gave up because that person couldn't learn. So I don't think that any degree is a measure of ability to learn, actual skill set. I think it's a measure of you had enough money and time to sit there and, take a bunch of tests and do a bunch of paperwork. Except again, STEM.
Or drink a lot of alcohol, smoke a lot of weed,
You
waste a
can
lot
do
of
that
money.
without all the, like, it doesn't have to be that expensive. You don't have to pay for college to do that.
See, I didn't. I look back and I'm like, I went to college to just like, I paid $15,000 to live in an apartment by myself and like hang out with my friends. That's what I
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
Do you have
That's a learning
ADHD?
experience. Yes, I do.
Gotcha.
Actually, I was. So I'm just setting up my office right now, and I'm very happy about it because what I'm going to eventually have is whiteboards all here. I'm going to connect the computer to the TV so I can stand up and talk to people, which is what I prefer to be doing right now. Whiteboard here, and yeah, that's going to be almost the entire room is going to be that because one of the biggest things that I do for other people, I also have to do for myself, which is set myself up for success. And if my environment doesn't work well for me, I don't work well in it. So I have a huge focus on that. Like it can't be too cluttered. It has to all be usable space. I have a lot of tools that I try to use, some of which work. I recently got a new calendar hack for myself, so we'll see if that works because I have 6 calendars and I can't remember to look at any of them. And I can't get any of them to set a reminder for me for some reason.
Except
And
for
bench app.
bench app.
So I now am putting everything on my calendar in a sports app for hockey because I've gotten used to looking at that app. It lists out all my events in a really easy to read way. I check in or I check out to say I'm going to be there. And I'm also marking every event as me versus. So today, when we're done the podcast, I will mark that I beat you guys because I showed up. And that is one of my harder things. But yeah, no, if you have any tips for neurodivergency, it is a huge problem, and I think people don't realize it can actually be a disability at times. And stuff like usually, if you'll ever see me in person, I'll have headphones in. I wasn't able to set up this room not to echo yet, but I will. So I'll put like cloth on the walls in different areas so that it'll absorb it. But I also can't be in a room with carpeted floors if I can avoid it because they're gross. So I do a lot of things to set myself up physically for success. And then I also try to do, like mental exercises, instead of looking at Facebook, you listen to a podcast, something like that to get yourself back on track. Do you have ADHD?
I don't, but some would question it. No, so have you had AD, like you were diagnosed as a kid with ADHD?
I was diagnosed at 13 years old. Yep.
So
And then
you like, as I'm hearing you talk, in my opinion of you, is like, wow, like her ADHD is like a complete superpower. Like you are killing this ADHD. I like want ADHD now because like you're talking about, like you're making it sound really cool. So talk
thank
about
you.
when it didn't feel cool and the struggles from when you were 13 to now. Like it's cool as shit now that you have ADHD. You're thriving. When was it not cool to have it?
So I will say, and if you saw me at a different time of day, you might not think that. And that is how, up and down it can be. A lot of people think that ADHD is just an attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It isn't. It is dopamine dysregulation and it is executive dysfunction, which for a person who most of her job is thinking a whole lot and trying to figure out organizational, strategies for people, can be challenging. The real issue for me is starting. Once I start something, I am 100% concentrated on it. The only reason I wasn't diagnosed with ADHD earlier in life was actually because of Harry Potter. Because I would read these books for they would have to come and take them out of my hand at night. Like I would sneak lights into the room. I would read for 12 hours at a time.
Wow.
Obsessively. Yeah. So they would look at me and mom literally just said, well, yeah, okay, I see it, but she can read that forever. So clearly she can't have this, this diagnosis,
yeah.
right? But if you look at if you remember progress reports when you're a young kid, it's like, this is going on your permanent record. No, it's not.
My permanent record.
But they would always say she's a smart girl. She can't focus in class and she never does her homework. And the never does her homework thing, I think, is the easiest way to think about why I can't look at a calendar. And it is a can't. People like to say, try harder, or I have to find a calendar that I can remember to look at, or that works in a way that my brain does, because I can't, that pigeon calendar I've got in the corner, I'm never going to see it for anything but a picture of a pigeon. And that's it. My brain doesn't grasp onto that, right? Yeah. But I didn't do my homework because I would leave and everything that was in that room is now gone. And now I'm in a different room. So I would go home and I would play, or, fire?
No,
Sorry.
someone's using a 56K dial-up modem.
Oh.
And Mom just picked up the phone while I was trying to play Diablo 2.
No! Mom, stop. I'm on the computer. God.
I'm trying to download Napster.
But yeah, so it's that object permanence is really, I think, one of the bigger issues. And impulsivity, I've gotten really, really good at practicing that. practicing not doing that and thinking ahead of time. That has taken years of, believe it or not, cognitive behavioral therapy, where it's and you should be in therapy for ADHD. A lot of people don't know that. It's you have to learn the behaviors that everyone else already picked up on. You didn't pick up on them. You got to practice. That's it. So
Yeah.
just like you might wake up in the morning and just brush your teeth. I have to wake up in the morning and go, oh, right, I'm supposed to brush my teeth. And I have to think about it. And even if I set that as a habit every single day for, it could be years. I might one day wake up and it's just gone. I forget it. So we don't retain habits, object permanence. And the other one is the start stop problem. So what is this called? There's a task paralysis. So I will sit here and think of every single thing I need to do. I have a list of the things that I haven't done. No, I did one of them. Okay. Up on the board, I realized on my whiteboard over there, I keep my things on there. And I learned recently I should only put 3 on there, but task paralysis happens because I am actually 100% aware of everything on the calendar and everything that I have to do. And then I freeze and I go, which one do I do first? And it's like
Yeah.
I've got a wheel spinning in my head, freaking out because if I choose to do the dishes, but I need to fill out some paperwork, or I choose to make a phone call, but I'm actually supposed to be sending an image to someone, I'm wrong. No matter what I do, I'm wrong. And said, so instead of doing something, I sit there and I go, I have so much stuff to do. And then I just try to avoid it. And what's really happening in your brain when that goes on is you have a deficiency of dopamine. And dopamine is the motivator. So like if you wake up in the morning and you drink your coffee, that might give you the, little bit of dopamine you need to answer emails. I need a lot more than that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you saw these, this is my now empty, very sadly empty nicotine mint bottle. I still smoke, but I use these 4 milligram nicotine lozenges. I didn't smoke at all yesterday, actually, at all, the whole day. Yeah, yeah. I smoke less when I'm happier and it's cold outside at the same time.
I don't know what it is. I don't think it's because my parents smoked. I never was a smoker. I think it makes you less attractive. You're very pretty. But if you smoked weed,
I'm already been married. I don't have to worry about that anymore.
oh, you're right. No, that's fine. Just keep doing it.
I quit before for 6 months ever, and that's actually something else that happens a lot with neurodivergent people is addiction. It's the least bad addiction I can have. And it sounds crazy, but you will never find a mental health professional who will look at someone who has ADHD. And I'm also prone towards depression, which is something that happens from ADHD frequently. Or it's a very similar chemical makeup to depression that happens to people with ADHD. They don't tell you to quit smoking. They're like, stay alive, don't do cocaine. Don't don't drink yourself to death. Even smoking weed is not great for you. But no, I don't care that you're smoking. And if you didn't know this, people with ADHD are have lifespans that are about 12 and a half years less than people who do not. Yeah. 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 So and it could be from something like it's well, you drop something in your car while you're driving and you lean over to pick it up. You might think, I'm on the highway. I shouldn't do that. And I think, I really have to see my phone right now to see the directions. And I just go for it and end up in a crash. And those are the parts of ADHD that people don't think of. They think, oh, it's funny, you're quirky and superpower. They say that a lot. It is. My brain works this way and it's really cool. And I wouldn't be who I am if my brain didn't function this way. But I also, might be a lot safer and happier, during times when things are really hard and, hitting my own goals when I want to hit my goals. So
Yeah.
I'm happy that my brain works this way. I'd like to be a little bit more in control of it than I am, and I do things like take certain vitamins that have been shown to aid in the creation of like serotonin and dopamine, and force myself to eat protein, which, believe it or not, is a big deal for people with ADHD or anyone who makes dopamine, which is everyone. And I read a lot about it. I learn a lot about it so I can fix it.
I think it's huge with people who have like ADHD or like bipolar. Like, I really think that more people need to read and educate on what their diagnosis is. 'Cause I feel like it makes you feel it makes you feel less alone. It makes you feel when especially if you're reading something that you're like, oh, that's why I did that.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
makes sense. and then you feel like you can, I don't know.
There's at least some objective pathway for you to tear it down and figure out the why something's happening.
And I agree with that, because knowing the why, it doesn't fix it. It's the first step towards being able to fix it. So like I'm quite literally in the middle of this huge search for what are the things that I can do to fix these, deficits that I have. Right?
Yeah.
How can I remember to look at a calendar? How can I make my space work for me so that I can, use the brilliance that I do have inside of me? But understanding it's not my fault, it's how I'm built, is a huge weight off your shoulders, because it comes with a lot of guilt and shame.
Yeah.
I missed a skate that Jonesy paid for me for my birthday, and I just sat there like, he's gonna hate me. I'm a terrible person. How could I have forgotten this? And it's like, it's not the end of the world. It did, push me to start looking again at which different calendar, options can I use? What other things can I do that are in my budget and work in my life? But instead of just staying in that guilt and shame, I went, okay, we know why. You're not allowed to hate yourself for this.
Yeah.
What can we do better? And yeah, knowing that why is so freaking huge, because I shouldn't hate myself for just how I am. I should just try and find ways to make the world work for me.
I have also awful calendar problems like you do. And at one point that me and my husband were bashing back and forth with it, because he's very structured way more than I am, especially with calendar. The one day we got home, I got home and I obnoxiously hung this in our hallway in our living room.
Is it a huge calendar? Yes.
Nice. Kids moved it upstairs, but I kind of did it to be an asshole. But yeah, calendars are not my best. There have been podcast days that I forgot that we were recording, but it's okay. I live close. This is my modem. It's literally my laptop.
She's back.
There were so many steps, none of them made any sense, and I don't know why it worked.
So now all we have to do is you tell people where they can find you if they need the business doctor to come, and give them a process where none existed previously.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me at jcbizdoctor.com. That's JCBIZ doctor.com. Also, if you happen to be a friend of Joni's or Jonesy's or Jess's, you can just say you want to talk to me and I will give you a call. My first consultation is always free with people who know someone that I know. I'll give you a call. I'm going to tell you it'll take about an hour. It's probably going to be longer than that. We'll get really into the process. I'm more than happy if you get enough ideas from that first call. But usually what we do is we set up a follow-up and then we figure out an actual plan for you. And if you need a whole project, I got you. I'm here.
Boom.
Cool. All right. So we end every show the same. And if you haven't seen it, hopefully you're wearing pants. We end
I thought about that.
Yeah.
A leg lift.
I'm still wearing sweatpants.
Why
we do leg lifts?
Why we
I
do
wear
it,
fancy
no one
sweatpants.
knows. But will we continue to do it? Yes, we will. Oh, great socks.
Thanks. Rainbow Christmas.
You're doing your best, and some days it's a mess, but you're showing up still, so we're very impressed. Feeling the pressure, yeah, we relate. It's okay to not be okay. Minding our business, let's talk it out. Jess and Jonesy know what it's all about. From burnouts and doubts to boundaries that stick, we're right here with you through thick and thick.